Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at Modern Warfare 2 running on the Steam Deck. So what I've got right now is actually Windows 11 installed, and I've got my Steam set up with the new Gamepad UI. If you're interested in setting this up in Windows, you can make it look just like SteamOS. I've done a full video, I'll leave a link for that in the description, but unfortunately when it comes to the new Modern Warfare 2 game, it's not officially supported in Linux due to the cheat engine they chose to use, which is known as Ricochet. The main developers have come out and said that it may never officially support Linux, but there will be workarounds down the road, I can guarantee you that. But right now, in order to get this up and running, at least at the time of making this video, the only method that I've seen to get this game running properly on the Steam Deck is to use Windows, be it Windows 10 or Windows 11, but I can tell you right now that this game runs absolutely amazing on the deck. And in this video, we're going to take a look at performance across the board. We're going to run the built-in benchmark, we're going to test some single player and multiplayer. I'll also show you the settings that I'm using here. But for big fans of this game who really want to play it on the Steam Deck, it might be worth setting up a dual boot system with SteamOS and Windows to get this up and running, because I mean, playing this with the Steam Deck while you're on the go is actually really awesome. So when it comes to the graphics settings, there's actually a lot that we can mess around with here, and I've been able to get an average of around 90 FPS out of this game with the lowest settings, but I kind of just wanted to keep it there right around 60, especially in multiplayer. And while I'm personally playing multiplayer, I just turned VSync on to kind of lock it right there at 60. That'll also save on the battery. But first things first, dynamic resolution. This is really going to be your best friend when it comes to the Steam Deck due to the lower end CPU and GPU combo here. From this main menu, I didn't change much at all, but when I move over to graphics, what I did was go to the preset of balanced, and then from there I turned FSR on to balanced also. I think at that balanced preset it defaults to high quality, and you know, you could get by running it with the high quality preset on FSR, but I wanted a little more out of it and just make sure I didn't have any dips under 60 while I was in multiplayer. So balance there from FSR. And really, that's about it. Remember, the Steam Deck screen is 1280 by 800. It's going to lower that resolution down a little bit because we're using the dynamic resolution scale and FSR, but it still looks great on this smaller display and plays amazingly. So the first thing I wanted to show off here was the built-in benchmark with those settings I just mentioned. I don't have Afterburner running, so we can't see what's going on with the CPU, but when we get into real gameplay, I'll turn that on. I just kind of wanted you to take a look at how it's playing right now with this benchmark, and I mean, just to the naked eye, it looks very playable. And of course, yeah, it is. It's actually over 60 FPS with the settings we have. And like I mentioned, we've got more settings that we can take down. We can get an average of 80 FPS out of this game on the Steam Deck using this benchmark, but it will degrade the quality of the image. And you know, we're already working with a lower resolution image, so I'd say this is kind of the sweet spot. And at the end of this benchmark, which I ran a couple times, we got an average of 66 FPS, and one time I ran it, I got an average of 68. But yeah, 66 FPS on a handheld with a game like this isn't bad at all. And remember, VSync is also going to help out with battery life. It's going to lock it right there at 60 so that CPU and GPU doesn't have to work any harder to move over 60 FPS. Next up, I figured I'd show off the campaign, otherwise known as single player mode. And we do get better performance in single player over multiplayer with these settings here. This averaged 71 FPS by the end of this mission, and as you can see, I do have Afterburner running up in the top left-hand corner, so we can check out that CPU clock, GPU clock, and the CPU package power, which in Windows and in SteamOS is around 15 to 16 watts. That's all we can get. It's kind of locked down in the BIOS, and I really wish, you know, we could get just a little more, around 18 watts. That way we can keep the GPU clocks up, because as you can see, it's not quite running at 1600 megahertz, and that's because it needs to split up that 15 or 16 watts between the CPU and the GPU at the same time. And the final thing I wanted to show off here was a little bit of multiplayer, and we got an average of 64 FPS with this. A couple more settings may need to be taken down just in an intensive firefight. You could take those shadows from medium down to low. There's a couple other things that we could do here. Or you could even drop FSR to like performance, which is really going to give us a nice FPS boost, but it will degrade the quality of the picture. And since we're already working with such a low resolution image here on this display, it may not be worth it to some people. But I do have to say that this is very playable, kind of at that balanced preset with a few little tweaks, and if you need a little more out of it, there's always more that we can drop down in this game. But overall, it does work really well on the Steam Deck, and hopefully we get real official support in Linux or SteamOS. But at the time of making this video, due to the Ricochet cheat engine, we're kind of limited here to Windows, and I know that we will get workarounds. But when working around an anti-cheat system, there's always a chance of getting banned, and the developer has said something about this, but you got to take it with a grain of salt right now because the game only came out a few days ago. And as soon as there are some stable workarounds for SteamOS, I will be doing a full tutorial, but for now, it does run well in Windows. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I just wanted to make a quick video to show this off. If you have any questions, or if you have some kind of configuration that you've tested so far that works better, let us know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.